What I'm going to show today is called a limited palette. And I always wondered why it was limited, because the limited is the start out. What you get out of this type of a palette is incredible colors. So it's an unlimited amount of colors. So it's an unlimited palette. But I'm going to start with 2 colors today. And then I'm going to paint a painting. And as a heads up, I already did this, but my camera cut off. So I'm going to remix the colors for you right now. I'm going to use ultramarine blue in a Liquitex and a burnt sienna in golden. And then I do have a burnt sienna in a high flow if I need that. And black and white is always a given when you do exercises like this, because black and white adds. So there's no way that I would be able to show you all the colors that could be created, because it's an infinite amount. Well, infinite, you know, there's a lot of colors. Infinite, you know, I'm sure there's some limitation. So I'm just going to squirt out a big squirt. It's a big squirt on my end. What you're seeing is probably a little squirt. And then I'm going to do a squirt of the burnt sienna. And I'm going to go ahead and bring out with a palette knife some white. And I might have to get more, because this is getting to the bottom of the barrel on this one. And then I'm going to get out some black. I may use some high flow. Move my brushes over. But there is no, well, I am not going to do any rhyme or reason in this. You can make the mixes between the two equal. Meaning, you know, as I go down, I can make equal amount. In fact, that's what I'll show you first. Let's take some of the blue. Same with the same amount of the burnt sienna, and mix that together. And that's like a beautiful, and a little bit more blue. Like a beautiful dark, dark, dark chocolate. Let's add a little bit of white to that. And I'm going to take it down as we go. That was quite a bit of white. I'm going to take just a tad of white over here. A little bit more of the burnt sienna. So already we've got these beautiful grays going on. You might wipe my brush. We do some blue here. We add just a tad of the burnt sienna. And then you've got, that's a beautiful blue. It's almost like a navy blue. Let's add a little bit of white to that. Look at that beautiful colors, blue. Add a little bit more white to that. Get lighter and lighter. Add a little bit more white. Almost like a sky blue here. Let me do some of that burnt sienna with just a tad of blue. And maybe a little bit more. That is almost a, I don't want to say a brick, it's like a brick color, muted brick color. Do a little bit of white with that. They're just beautiful colors. Yeah, a little bit more white. Let me just add a little bit of black to that while I've got that down here. Just taking it back to, oh, that's a beautiful gray as opposed to that gray. A little bit different gray. Let's add a little bit of white to that gray. It's even a lighter gray. Absolutely beautiful. So let's add a tad of black to this gray. There's definitely a difference between that color gray and that color. So lots of beautiful colors. So let's add some more blue. Let's just do blue with some white. And add a little bit of gray to that. That's a very blue gray. We're going to add white to that. And even if about now, if you wanted to add some of the burnt sienna in, you're still just getting color after color after color. That is getting pretty close to that up there because I added the blue. But this blue here is a lot different than anything that we've done. So I'm enjoying, say, the blue and the equal amounts of the burnt sienna. And let's add some white to that. And you can even go in and add another one of the colors that you've already mixed. And that's even a different gray. So you can mix this all up ahead of time, or you can mix these as you go. Do a little squirt. So this is with just 2 colors. So I'm going to show you the painting that I did with those 2 colors, but I'm going to grab a little panel now. I already got my finger on it. So let's grab this little panel with these colors that I just created. Even though I'm going to show you the other paintings I did, let's just have some fun. And I'm going to start with some of the gray down here. Very light gray. I'm going to just kind of layer, almost like a landscape. I'm going to go a little lighter. Let's bring in some of the blues. So I did that all with one brush. Normally with a painting, you would definitely use different brushes. So I'm taking a very, very fine brush and I'm going to go into the burnt sienna here. Just make some marks. Almost like a very muted landscape here. Now, one thing that happens that you'll see and you'll hear me talk about is the painting itself, all the colors will start to harmonize with each other because of the fact that when you mix each of these colors together, every one of these harmonize with each other. So let me even add some of that very dark blue up here. In fact, let me mix some more. That's with a little bit of black, a little bit of burnt sienna, a little bit of white. I put too much white in there. Let me take a corner of this. Yeah, real beautiful. Dark blue. See, not only just mixing these to kind of see where you're at, but I just mix this on the fly. And I'm just doing like a little, you know, like maybe a sky effect here. And I'm letting the down below here go into a very lighter kind of a gradation. But the point to show you this is not to really show you a painting, but just to show you the beautiful colors that can come from this. And then you can throw in even this little light blue here, added touches of the light blue. Even there, it just really makes a beautiful like landscape, if that's what you want to call that. So we're going to go into, the concept is the same, it's just that my mixing of the colors didn't get on the video. So I'm going to show you the two paintings that I created right here, very abstract, using the same color palette, the two colors, the ultramarine blue and the burnt sienna, and I didn't even get into using the high flow on this little tiny sample. So let's jump into that, but I wanted to show you the mixing of the colors because that's where the fun is. And you can mix colors as much as you want. I can continue to keep mixing these colors here because the colors that you're getting from this are so rich and beautiful. And the gray here, then let's just add, I've already made a couple paintings with this, but the colors are just beautiful. That's just such a beautiful, beautiful gray right there. There's no way you can get that color from a bottle. Let's mix some white in down here. And if I were to mix these into even the painting that I did the other day to show you for the demonstration, it would look absolutely beautiful on there. The same, be the same color palette. I wanted to pop in here and just show you this little tiny one that I did. I just took an oil pastel and I just kind of marked on it. This is Sennelier. I love this blue color. It is oil, so it will be the last thing that you put on this. You know, you can't put acrylic over top of it or it'll just kind of spread out. But I mean, very simple. The colors are beautiful. And then this was not in the color palette that I used, but what that is it's just a pop of color that you can add to your painting when you're done. So I just wanted to show that to you. So here's the color palette that I did before I did the paintings. It's different than the one I just showed you at the very beginning because the camera shut off. So I'm just showing you the actual painting where I'm just adding pencil and some charcoal, and I'm just playing. The paintings take different shapes, different versions. I am not looking at composition at this point. I'm just playing with the paint. So I'm going to put some music on for you, and you know the colors that I used, and I'll pop in if I need to make an annotation. But I'm just going to use some different size brushes and just enjoy the different colors. They're a little different than I normally use, so this was not a challenge for me, but it was different for me. But that's the way you learn to grow as an artist. I found if I stay within my same comfort area, I don't experience different things, and it may be uncomfortable. My painting may turn out not like what I want it to be, and I may think that I failed at painting for a day or 2 days or even 3 or 4 paintings in a row. But what you learn from the paintings that don't turn out and from play is to me, it's just as valuable as what you learn when a painting turns out. I think that you have to go through taking chances. You have to go through being creative to continue to find the things that you like to do. So I may be a little bit out of my zone using that brown, the burnt sienna, but it was good for me. Going through this practice of these 2 different colors, mixing them together, was good for me. So I'm going to turn some music on, like I already said, and I'm going to just let you watch. So you'll see me here taking the tape off. It's gotten kind of dark for me,
and taking the tape off, even though the edges are going to get messy. I didn't put the tape on necessarily to have an edging. It's just having this crisp edge sometimes helps you see it in a different light. But I'm looking at it. I'm going to let it dry. It's got a lot of paint on it, and it's a little dark for me, but that's okay. So I'm going to put this to the side, and I'm going to get the second piece. But the colors to me are beautiful. I just have to let it dry and revisit it, and a lot of other artists call it edit it down later. So here's the second one, and put some music on, and let's get started on this one. wanted to pop in here and just encourage you when you get to this point in a painting where you've gone down a path that you just feel like I've messed the painting up. In my opinion, through doing art for so many years now, I have learned that this stage is just as important. Now, you'll see me get darker and darker. I'm balancing between the mid-tones, and then I throw in some white for the light tones, and then the dark tones, and I'm really getting to the point where nothing seems to really be working, but that's okay, because for me, a lot of these layers, these under layers, are what really makes up my art, especially on my larger canvases. And since I work mainly on larger canvases, doing these smaller paintings sometimes is harder for me, but it's good for me. So you'll see me there. I just added some more titanium white and do my regular scrape throughs. I eventually get to a point where I like the painting. In fact, I'll put a little glimpse in here of what it looks like, but I really have to keep working on it. So about here, I'm starting to feel like the paintings are becoming more of my design, my liking, what I like. As you notice, a lot of the blue disappeared. There's little hints of it. I do very neutral paintings. So a lot of the blue have become part of the underpainting, which is perfect. You want the underpainting to be very interesting. But I'm looking at areas on each of the paintings that could possibly be considered a focal point, or a focal point and like a secondary. So I'm going to be digging out some of my regulars, like the spray paint and stencils, and some of the marks that I normally make, and start to really make the painting come alive with the marks and the things that I love, that I'm comfortable with. So this is what they call the final editing stage, the final stage of where you start to put your personal markings within the paintings. So while I'm adding the final touches on these two little paintings, the one thing I want to get across is not only is limiting your colors going to cause a harmony of all the different colors within your painting, but the experience of constantly trying something new, pushing yourself to do things you haven't done before, just painting, for me, smaller paintings when I'm used to bigger paintings. All this is all a part of becoming a more seasoned artist. I used to hear that to be an artist, you had to have the talent. Well, talent may get you to where you want faster, but I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, feel that to get to where you want to be as an artist, to get to be successful, You have got to continually get in there and in your studio and working. The more bad paintings you do, the more paintings you do, the more good paintings you do, the more that you just paint and paint and paint and try different things, take risk, do things you don't normally do, repeat a process that you like, all those things. The more you do that, the better that you will become as an artist, because what happens is you become more confident. And in that confidence, when you do a bad painting or you're in the process of in the middle of a painting that's not working, you know you can get to the other side because you've been there before. And it may be hard, especially if you have like 2 or 3 days where your paintings aren't going the right way. You don't stop. You keep going and you keep pushing through, because you know every single painting that you do is going to teach you something. You may not feel that it's taught you anything while you're in the midst of it, but I promise you there's something in it that's going to teach you. If anything, it's going to teach you something don't to do. Don't to do. Don't do. I go very dark sometimes on my paintings, and then I have to do a lot of veiling to bring it back to light. But that's what I like. And in the midst of doing that, I can scrape through the light and get this beautiful, rich, dark undertone of the painting that is underneath. So nothing is lost for me. It's all a part of bringing me to where I want to be in my finished paintings. And I hope if you're at this point where you get to the middle of your painting and you just don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, you remember my words, that you keep pushing through and you don't give up. And you just keep pushing through and you don't give up. And I could say that 100 times, because if you continue to take those paintings into the next evolution, even if you don't like those particular ones you're doing, your next set will be even better and better and better. And then if you go down and you get bad for a while, you just keep pursuing, because it will happen. And that's an encouragement I'd like to put out there for you and to you.